Hey there. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm speaking with marketing managers, marketing directors, and certainly top of mind that I see from them is AI and how they can use AI in their day-to-day work with their SEO and content and that kind of thing. And I'm using it obviously myself in my day-to-day, but I thought, okay, well, let's see, can we get it to help from an SEO and content perspective? I'm obviously seeing lots around agentic AI at the moment, lots of things on X and people creating agents to do some of this work. So I thought I'd test it really. There's still a lot of skepticism in the market. So I thought I'd test, how well it actually works and can it do that work? So I decided to start with, as a test guinea pig, my partner's hair and beauty salon. So she's got a local hair and beauty salon in Warrington. We haven't done anything for a long time with the site in terms of SEO or content. So I thought I'd see, could it work for that? So I used Claude to try and understand how to do this and how to set it up. And the first thing it advised was using NAN as the kind of automation workflow and platform. So that's where I started. First I had to connect up the Search Console and analytics data. So you have to add in the credentials, make it open, accessible from the Google account. So that took a bit of working out and understanding, but once I was able to do that, it was quite straightforward, and then created a couple of simple nodes to just go and access that data using the credentials that I'd created within NAN, or that I'd made accessible in NAN. And then I created a node to merge and combine these two pieces of data. There was a little bit of work just converting it to a format that was kind of readable. And then the next part was, could I create an SEO analyst? So again, using Claude, I created a Claude AI agent and just a simple chat model prompt. And you can see here the prompt. So create it as an SEO analyst to analyze the site, analyze the analytics, and the Search Console data, gave it some priority services to think about, and then export some sort of traditional SEO analysis to start with, looking at those things like conversions and bounce rate and see if there's any quick wins. So again, that was fairly straightforward. And then from there, I created another agent to now do a bit more kind of keyword analysis, really understand what we were ranking for, what we were targeting on each page on the current site. Were there any opportunities to optimize that content, or any gaps, maybe pages we were missing, where we were getting some impressions, but where we could kind of do better, and gave it some priority in terms of targeting. So, trying to drive intent, buying intent sort of terms as much as possible, and then sort of local search terms. So yeah, ran that prompt and executed that, and that worked well. And then the next part was, okay, taking all that analysis, and then could we create the content tasks for Carrigan to work on? So the pages to work on, what she needed to optimize, what she needed to improve. So you'll see here focusing just on content tasks, things like rewriting the page copy, adding FAQs and that kind of thing. So yeah, again, just a simple prompt. I used Claude to help me kind of really work out what would get the best results. And then from that, the idea was to export it automatically into a Google Doc. Again, this took a little bit of work to try and get the format right and get the output correct. But eventually got that working. Did have to create a little node in between just to format it, because it kind of exported with like markdown and, hashes and things like that, which weren't so legible for someone who's not a kind of SEO or understands code, or, a techie person. So to make it easier for Carrigan, had to create that. Yeah. And again, just using Claude to help me understand what kind of nodes to create and how to do them. And that worked well. And then you'll see, started to get the outputs here. So created different folders in Google Drive, and that's where I exported the document. And you'll see here, this is other documents, the first ones I've kind of produced. Yeah, so you see one of the first tasks that was coming through and the highest priority was to rewrite the fat reduction page. Gives you the page and then starts to go into all the detail of what to do on the page and how to rewrite it, the keyword we're targeting, looking at heading tags, things like that. What you should be writing in the content, starts to get into kind of FAQs and questions to put in there. A little bit about testimonials and some location elements. And yeah, started to build out some tasks for her to work through. So that was really good. Alongside that, what I wanted to create was, so I separated it out with those content tasks for Carrigan, and then a separate workflow to create some technical tasks for the developer. because again, it's not been worked on for a long time, and just had to make sure it excluded kind of content tasks, but then start to analyze from a technical SEO or coding perspective and look at fixes and create a task list for Roberto, who's a developer who helps us on those kind of things. So yeah, really good. And I'll show you that output. So there's a little bit more to do on this. But you can see some of the tasks it was recommending at first. We're saying things like adding a call to action button above the fold. So you see here on the fat reduction page. But when we actually go to that page, it does have a call to action button in the hero section here. So book your free consultation. So essentially the agent was doing the analysis and then putting the recommendations forward. He was analyzing the traffic, the analytics and the search console data and things like that, putting the recommendations for what needs to be done on a page, but it didn't really have an understanding or visibility on the page and know what was actually on the page. So it was kind of recommending a little bit blind. So now what I need to do is build a node in between that before it creates the tasks to actually go between and bridge between the analysis and then viewing what's actually there and then making the recommendations subsequently from what's actually there and the gaps there. So yeah, that's my next step, to add another node in between that before it actually outputs the tasks for Roberto. But yeah, it just outputs into a Google Doc. So really nice, really cool, really easy. Took quite a bit of time getting these things set up just because I hadn't done them before. But in reality, it wasn't that long really to set them up once I kind of knew what I was doing. I suppose the thing you do have is that kind of improvement. So you kind of keep needing to improve. So it's got a good output now, but there's things I could do to make it better and make the output better. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I say, adding this node in between where it's actually visually looking at the site and then putting the recommendations after that. So you kind of, you put the workflow in and then you output it, and then you have to improve either the prompts or the process and the workflows and the nodes in the actions on the pipeline. So yeah, that's the first step, what I've done, and I just wanted to share that now. But yeah, I mean, first outputs look promising, and then I started working on some other pipelines as well, and workflows. So I'll share them in another video, but I just wanted to share what I've done so far, and then I'll record another video on the kind of next steps that I did and the next workflows that I created. But that's all for now. Hopefully it helps and inspires you to kind of look at these things and see what you can do on your side.